Now at 5, with just days before Oregon's special election, state officials want to make sure you can make your voice heard. Plus, as we approach the summer months, see how a local energy company is doing its part to help prevent wildfires. And nearly 80 years after a flood destroyed an Oregon city, a local nonprofit is making sure the community never forgets. Thanks for joining us at 5. I'm Art Edwards. The special election is just 3 days away, and there's still time to drop off or mail in your ballot. Celine Stevens is live in the newsroom after speaking with a couple of counties today about what you need to know ahead of the big day. Celine?
Art, right. So right now, voter turnout is still looking pretty low, but like you said, there is still some time to turn in that ballot. Today, there were extended hours for in-person voting assistance and just to return your ballot ahead of the May 20th election, which some people took advantage of.
Yes, I wanted to get my ballot in before the deadline. This happened to be very convenient for us.
Tuesday, May 20th, is the special election for people to vote on hot topics like school, fire, and water district races.
Everything counts. Yep, we pour through the information they send out ahead of time and decide who we're going to vote for.
Although the election is in just a few days, voter turnout is low in a couple counties, which is typical for special elections.
Special district elections can be anywhere between 16% turnout up to 40% turnout. The exact percentage that we are at right now is 12.1%.
As of end of day yesterday, Clackamas County is at 11.4%, so we have just over 35,000 voters who have turned in their ballot.
Voters having the option to stop by a ballot box or by a voting location in person.
We have 32 ballot boxes throughout the county, plus we have this office and the Voting Center Express where people can drop their ballots.
That Voting Center Express, located in Gresham, where we found Diane Herson, who turned in her ballot with her husband, saying vote by mail makes voting easy.
We live just down the street, an easy walk, and I saw it was going to be open today from 10 to 2. We'll get it in a couple days early. In Virginia, there are times we had to stand in line to get early voting, but you still had to stand in a long line.
Of course, voters can still vote in person if needed, and help will still be available on Monday and Election Day at the voter service locations, all of which can be found on your county's website.
You can also come here in person and vote in one of our voting booths if you would like. And if you need assistance voting, if you have a disability or if English isn't your first language, we can assist you.
Don't wait till the last minute. We want to make sure everybody's ballot's counted.
Before you head out to your usual ballot box, double check the location. Currently, there are 6 libraries in Multnomah County where people would usually drop their ballot off at, that are closed, which are being replaced by 6 temporary sites nearby. If you're mailing your ballot, it must be postmarked on or before Election Day. Art?
Thanks, Celine. Well, what a way to start the weekend. Some heavy rainfall moved in earlier this morning with heavy downpours at times in a few spots. Now we're slowly drying out. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri is here to let us know if more rain is in the forecast for the evening. Hey, Joe.
Hey, there are just a little bit, but again, we've canceled that weather impact alert that was in effect for earlier today. Of course, we saw those heavy downpours late last night and into earlier this morning, which produced over 1.25 inches of rain at the Portland International Airport. So we were at a deficit to start the month off. Now we're actually looking at a surplus, believe it or not. The thunderstorms and all the action are going to be really on the east side of the state, especially along the far reaches of I-84 there along the Oregon-Washington border. We're not going to be impacted by any thunderstorms here locally, but again, about 15 minutes ago near Troutdale and all into Sandy, there are some heavier downpours. Some of those could have some hail mixed in, maybe a little bit of some lightning strikes, but here in the next 30 minutes, we're really out of the woods in terms of seeing inclement weather if you're going to be planning the rest of your Saturday night. But rainfall amounts very impressive throughout the area. And of course, not only was it the wettest day of the year, not record, but it was the wettest day in the last 18 months as well. Shows you just how wet things were. But again, if you kind of slept in a little bit, the heavier downpours, you're probably wondering, well, what happened? Well, here's where we are. We're now about 1/3 of an inch of rain above where we should be for this time of year. We saw some cooler conditions earlier, and that's going to be the case the next few days. But in my detailed forecast, I'll talk more about how we'll gradually warm up, going from kind of cool to very comfortable to almost hot heading into next weekend. I know that's a bit far out, but again, next weekend, of course, is Memorial Day weekend. I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Joe. Portland General Electric is working with other community agencies to help reduce wildfire risk this summer. The energy company hosted an open house this week to demonstrate how the groups are helping each other monitor weather conditions and create fire prevention strategies. Libby Dowsett reports.
The fire in Eagle Creek was visible up until we were completely covered in smoke.
Denny Hayes and Susie Fay shared their experience evacuating during a fast-moving wildfire.
I prepared my old station wagon and moved our most valuables down to Sparky's Pizza in Damascus.
PGE said these are the people they want to reach before another wildfire season begins, those living in high-risk areas. PGE hosted an open house with other organizations focused on fire prevention to help educate the public about how groups work together to keep communities safe. PGE says it gathers input from other agencies before deciding whether to shut off power based on weather and ongoing conditions, and when and where to bury power lines. Nearly 60% of PGE's distribution lines are underground.
They will look kind of chunk by chunk and say, in this specific area, the geology and geography is such that we should put power lines underground.
After a storm passes, PGE says it takes time to re-energize those lines. Crews need to visually inspect each section of the lines that were shut down in case any lines were knocked down in the storm. As for the public's responsibility getting ready for wildfire season, Clackamas County's disaster manager recommends making a go bag right now and studying the best routes for an evacuation. She said the county is learning from past mistakes.
The more that we've actually had to do evacuations, we've learned, and we've taken the lessons learned and applied that to our the next fire season.
She said they have improved mapping for the county's alert system and created traffic evacuation maps in different languages to make sure everyone gets out safely.
The highway system hasn't improved, but as far as panic or all that, I think people are a little more prepared now.
Libby Dowsett, KGW News.
In Corvallis, the Benton County Sheriff's Office is searching for the suspect of a shooting that left a person hurt. A 911 caller told dispatchers the victim was shot in a vehicle near Pacific Highway and Lakeside Drive at about 5:30 this morning. The Sheriff's Office says the suspected shooter, a Hispanic woman, is still armed and was last seen running with another Hispanic woman. The Sheriff's Office is cautioning people to not pick up hitchhikers in that area. Back in Portland, police are searching for a man who robbed a mail carrier while she was on the job. It happened just before 10:30 this morning in the area of Northeast Alberta and Northeast 7th Avenue. Portland police say the mail carrier was doing deliveries when a man started pulling on her bag. After taking it, he ran off from her and an officer who spotted him. Despite a search with a K-9 and a drone, the suspect has not yet been located. The carrier was not hurt. Check out this chase and arrest done by Portland police yesterday, and it was all because of expired tags. The Bureau says that's why they tried to pull over Jordan Abers, but he refused to stop. At one point, he turned the wrong way onto a one-way street and drove into oncoming traffic. Even still, after his tires were spiked and the pit maneuver stopped his car, Abers tried to run. He was found and arrested in a backyard. According to court documents, Abers ran because he got scared.
The police came by on motorcycles saying that everybody get upstairs, get upstairs. About 10 minutes later, they came back again on motorcycles saying everybody get out.
Survivors of the Vanport flood gathered today to remember and share their stories nearly 80 years after the city's destruction. The 10th Vanport Mosaic Festival started Friday, and today the nonprofit held its annual reunion of residents, survivors, and descendants. Orly Glass was just 8 years old on Memorial Day 1948 when the Columbia River breached the railroad levee. He and his parents escaped on a truck that was picking people up.
That was the high ground, Interstate Avenue. And time we got there, I looked around and the water was there at Interstate. And they had boats, and I remember the boats and the ropes they had strung out across the water, trying to rescue people that was in the water. Yeah.
At least 17 people died, and the survivors who lost everything did not receive any assistance. The 2-week Vanport Mosaic Festival is meant to be a form of memory activism so the community can continue to learn from it.